I probably pull about every character that I can in Genshin Impact, and 100% of the time it's not because I want to, it's cause I'm a content creator, so it's important for me to create content around new characters. Today, we're going to be going over some of the characters that even though I pulled for them, I deeply regretted it, and they have been benched for a long time. There was over 50 characters in Genshin Impact, I think probably 60 at this point, and there was a lot of them here that I wish I just did not roll for. Whether it be gameplay, design, attack animations, versatility with other units, there's a lot of reasons why I don't like certain characters. But with that all being said, why don't we go and start with the video. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. So picture the scene, you've just got yourself a brand new phone and you're looking for the best mobile game to play. Enter Raid Shadow Legends with awesome visuals, loads of powerful champions, challenging PvE bosses, and tactical PvP content. But wait, there's more. Raid has over 700 unique champions and counting. You're bound to find one that's right for you. Lizardmen, orcs, dwarves, undead, elves. Raid's got a faction that's just fit for you. There are over 12 imposing dungeons for you to conquer. Battle against players from all around the world and 3 exciting PvP modes including real-time live arena. Raid's constantly evolving with new modes, features, and quality of life updates to make its world even better. With millions of different artifact combinations, team compositions, and strategies to test out your characters, you practically have infinite ways to play. Are you looking for a new challenge in Raid Shadow Legends? Well, you're in luck. They just added a fearsome new boss, Akumori the Phantom Shogun. This undead general is guarding everything you need for accessory ascension, a new feature that allows you to upgrade your gear to even higher heights. With all this exciting stuff and more coming to Raid, if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? New players, use my link or scan my QR code on the screen right here to get a free starter pack. Now, the character I regret pulling most without a shadow of a doubt on my account, we're going to be starting with the biggest one first. My most regretted character is Klee. Klee was a character I pulled during the Golden Apple Archipelago on its first run of it. She's a character who nowadays I have not even leveled past level 40, which is kind of shocking considering I've almost covered every character in the game and almost all of them are above level 80. Especially my 5 stars. You'll see here that almost all of my 5 stars are at least level 80. The only exceptions being Klee, Baiju, and Chi-Chi. Klee is one of these exceptions because I just do not enjoy her gameplay. The times I've played her, I've not really enjoyed her, whether it be on other people's account or my own account. Just not a very fun character. I understand that she was probably good at the start of the game, but nowadays she feels a lot more clunky. She's been almost outclassed by a bunch of new pyro units since her release, like for example, Dia, just kidding, but there are other main DPS pyro units who I just think are inherently better, like for example Hu Tao and D-Luke. I even consider Yan Fei to be more enjoyable than Klee is. Klee's attacks feel very slow and I honestly just cannot find any good uses for her, and that is a reason that I've not used Klee. The other reason why I despise her so much, okay, despise is a strong word, why I don't personally play her that often, is because I accidentally pulled a constellation for her. This is not something I wanted. I went to 80 into pity to get this. During the Golden Apple Archipelago, I really wanted Jean and I didn't have her yet, so I went all in trying to get Jean on the Klee banner, even though she was a standard 5 star and there was no guaranteed. And as you would expect, I just got a second Klee instead of getting the Jean that I wanted. And that's why this little Martian will forever be in my nightmares. Without further ado though, let's move on to the next character. My next character may upset a couple people, but it's going to be our guy Arataki Itto. He is a character who is really fun and I love him in terms of the story. He is probably my favorite character in terms of aesthetics, in terms of captivation in the story. I think he's the funniest character we've ever got in Genshin Impact, and his story quest was really fun. But his gameplay leaves something to be desired. He is really unusable in the current meta. I'd say in Spiral Abyss, floor 12, he is completely unusable. I don't even think he'd be viable in the current rotation. And honestly, his options for team comps are so limited, it really makes him not all that fun. but that is just my personal opinion. There are good things about Arataki Ito, however. For example, Ushi is one of my favorite little minions in the game. I think he is very cute, and I like his little bull horns, and he gives a couple cool extra effects, which we always appreciate. Ito's burst is very fun to use, but for some reason, I can never seem to use it properly, and anytime I seem to do the normal hit into the charge attack, I can never do it properly. I have a really hard time getting the Ito burst timing right, and I always seem to fail it. And I don't know why that is. Maybe you guys can help me with that in the comments, but I just have a super hard time getting that Ito burst right. It's very finicky and hard to get the right timing with. I did, however, actually build Ito, unlike Klee. He's a character who I took to level 80, tried to kit out a little bit, but I haven't really had much luck in building him. I had to get him on a 4-piece bolide because I just could not get any good pieces in that Husk of Opulent Dreams set. I had a very hard time with that, and I just could not get any solid pieces there. So I had to choose a sub piece for him, which I didn't really like. Another reason I probably don't like Ito all that much is because I just generally don't like Claymore characters. I find their gameplay a little slower, a little clunky, and it's just not something I enjoy. And also, there is a better Geo DPS in Noelle, and nobody can convince me otherwise. Noelle is OP. Circling around back to Ito though, you notice nowadays that with new Dendro comps coming out, that Ito's usage is basically zero. He is similar to Eula in that sense, is that Geo and Physical have just completely fallen out of the meta and are really only usable in the overworld and maybe the earlier stages of the Spiral Abyss. However, I do still think he's a fun character, and if you like him, I don't blame you. I just wish they could do more with his kit to make him more versatile. Because right now it feels like there's only one static team comp that you can even use him in, and that is the 3 Geo comp with some sort of healer / support unit. And honestly, this team comp just isn't all that fun for me. I like using elemental reactions. I think if they made something that reacted with Geo, it could be a lot more fun and make Arataki Ito even greater than he already is. But with all that being said, let's move on to the next unit. Now, my next character probably won't come as a big surprise, as I feel like every person who pulled for Baizhu probably regretted him, but next up is Baizhu. This character was so underhyped. He got no attention since the release of Honkai Star Rail was around at the same time of Baiju's release, so it really felt like nobody pulled for him. However, I did. This character has been around since the start of the game, and he's finally out, and you think, oh wow, a new Dendro character, one that we've seen since what, like 1.2? Finally. No. Baizhu is really not all that great. It kind of feels like he is just outclassed by Nahida in every single way possible. Bailu is a healer / support character, which I guess is a little different than Nahida, but still I'd rather use Nahida in a team comp over Baizhu, just because she has a lot more versatility with Dendro reactions and Baizhu does not. To be completely honest, I have really not tried out Baizhu all that much since his release. He's another one of the 5 stars who I have not taken past level 50 and is still sitting at the bottom of my roster along with Klee and Chi-Chi, so I have not had much time to test him out or really use him because he just feels so niche compared to the other Dendro units. I've even leveled up Kirara before I leveled up my Baizhu, and to be honest, she is just a worse Baizhu. All she can really do is provide shields, strong shields, but Baiju's are definitely better. Baizhu, in my opinion, is just a little bit boring. I haven't really found much time to play him, and when I pulled him at the time, I did not have a lot of primos. You can see now that I only have 10,000 Primo Gems left over, which is not a lot, and on my newfound free-to-play journey, rolling for Baizhu was a big dip in my account, and something that I really didn't want to do, but I felt inclined to since I wanted to make a video on it, and to be honest, the video didn't even do all that well. I didn't even build his character. He's holding Violet Grass, which is like my least favorite material in the game to collect. I have lots of reasons not to particularly like Baizhu, besides the points of his kit, which are still not my favorite. I already have a lot of other built supports and healers, which I would rather use over Baizhu. The only redeeming part about Baizhu is the snake that sits around his neck, which honestly is kind of dope, to be honest. Anyways, on to the next character. Now, the next character might come as a bit of a surprise, but honestly, I think number 4 is gonna be my Ganyu. She is one of my only level 90 characters on my account. Since I build every character, I really don't level 90 very many of them. so the ones I do are usually important, with the exception of Ganyu. When I got Ganyu, I felt inclined to take her to level 90 since she is such an important unit when I got her. She was the best DPS at the time I got her, and she had some of the strongest hits in the game. So I thought level 90 was a no-brainer. Boy, was I mistaken. This character has fallen completely out of the meta. Because she is a crowd character, she has no interactions with Dendro, and that inhibits her quite a bit nowadays. I built an R5 Hamayumi, which was a terrible decision, and I really should have found something better for her because I really am not a fan of main DPS Ganyu, and I actually like support Ganyu a lot more, using her skill and her burst rather than her charge shot. Charge shot Ganyu, to me personally, is an extremely boring way to play the game. Having to wait 5 seconds to charge up the shot and then release it on enemies is just not my favorite thing in the world, and I don't have a lot of fun doing it. I would way rather use my Ayaka instead and try to kill enemies faster, because in the Spiral Abyss, you need to go as fast as possible, and Ganyu doesn't really accomplish that. That being said, even though I'm not a big fan of her normal attack, I still do like her skill and her burst. They are quite fun, and when she is in a sub DPS position, I actually like her quite a bit more. The only time I would ever play main DPS Ganyu again is if I got the C6 and I didn't have to wait for the charge shot anymore, which is never going to happen because I'm not spending that much money for a C6 character. It is a waste. That being said, I don't necessarily regret pulling for Ganyu. I think she was still good when I got her, so at the time I was probably happy with my decision, but nowadays I kind of look back on it and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have level 90 this character. It was probably a waste of mats, so maybe that is where I made my mistake. I think I would have also chosen to prioritize the skill and the burst over the normal attack, since the charge shot just really isn't my thing. With that being said though, let's move to the final character of the video. Now, the last character on my list is gonna start a lot of beef with probably a lot of my fans, but I'm gonna say it anyways. The last character on my list is Yelan. I am not the biggest fan of Yelan, to be completely honest. I understand that she's a very popular character in the community, but I personally wish I did not wish for her. She's a character who at the time was a very meta defining, and she still is. She's an amazing character, an amazing support, but I just do not use her that often. I always find myself, if I'm going for a sub DPS that's Hydro and either Vaporize or any comps involving Dendro reactions, my go-to is always either Xingqiu or Mona. It's never been anything but those two, and Yelan has just not been used at all on my account. She's a very good character and a character that I have built. I got her on the alley hunt, which is a decent weapon. I understand that Favonius may be better, but I personally like alley hunt for her because it's going to increase her damage while she is off field, and I don't necessarily use her on field. Another reason I really don't like Yelan is because of her constellations, and she feels so heavily weighted with constellations, since this C6 is probably the best one in the entire game, along with like every other one she gets, is absolutely game-changing to her kit. So you almost feel pressured into pulling for constellations for her, which I just don't like doing. She is still good at C0, but to be completely honest, I think Xingqiu is just inherently better. Because Xingqiu is a 4-star, I got a free C6 of him, and C6 Xingqiu is for sure better than a C0 Yelan. And if I wanted to get any constellations, I'd have to spend upwards of like $300 just to get one constellation. Times that by 6, I'm spending somewhere in the realm of $2,000 just for one character. Canadian, it'd probably be less than US dollars. I do really like her running around. That is one highlight of her kit. I really enjoy using this to get around the overworld, but to be fair, there are other characters who can do that, like Sayu, and even Kirara can do it. I think Yelan is the fastest though, inherently, but Kirara and Sayu could also do it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. In terms of her kit, I do think she has a decent kit, except who in their right mind ever uses the charge shot unless you have her C6 or you're doing some like weird charge shot build with her. It is the most useless thing ever, in my opinion. If you use it in your charge shot Yelan build, then be my guest, but I just never use it. I really wish I did like this character better. I didn't even really like her in the story. I found her really annoying in the Zhao storyline, to be honest. I felt like she kind of tried to take all the highlights from Zhao, which slightly irritated me. But she's still a fun character, and I understand why everybody likes her. I don't have to ask that question twice. But she is just personally not for me. With all that being said, that is going to be the end of our video for today. What characters do you regret pulling? Let me know in the comments below. With that all being said though, I'll see you guys later. Peace.